I started working in book publishing about 10 years ago. I was a book publicist, so I talked to book reviewers, I talked to television producers, I talked to bookstores and libraries, but I never talked directly to readers, and I never heard back from readers. Because at your average book publisher 10 years ago, it was before the internet. So we started hearing how worried we should be, how the web was coming to ruin everyone's attention span and give them an endless stream of worthless free content, and no one was ever going to read a book again. And over the last 10 years, I've been an author and a bookseller and an editor, and I've really seen the opposite. The more tools that we get for communication and collaboration, the more we're taking reading and writing, these really solitary pursuits, and building communities around them for connection and conversation. So I wanted to tell you about a few cool projects that have grown out of these changes. The first one that I worked on probably was called the 6-Word Memoir Project. It started out as a little blog post that I wrote for an online magazine, and we asked people to tell their life story in 6 words. It was a nonfiction twist on Hemingway's probably apocryphal 6-word novel, For Sale, Baby Shoes, Never Worn. But we asked people to tell their own lives, sort of a twist for our voyeuristic, exhibitionistic age. And we put up this online contest, and really soon we had thousands of them, from professional writers, from elementary schools, support groups, and church groups, and grandmothers, and we got a book deal to publish an anthology. It was a really little book deal, as these things go. And as soon as we signed, we kind of turned around immediately, and we're like, oh, we're going to need 800 author copies? The only reason I know that was an innovation was how crazy they thought I was to ask for it. But this book had 800 contributors. And so we sent a copy to every single person who'd written 6 words of the book and a letter that said, congratulations, you're a published author. Here's your book. Here's how to throw yourself a book party. Here's how to do a signing at a bookstore. Here's how to get interviewed on the radio or in your local paper. And having this army of people who cared about the book was an incredibly effective strategy. That book was a New York Times bestseller. We got a deal to do a sequel, and then another one, and then another one, and a board game and a calendar. We were on NPR and national TV and in the New Yorker. It was crazy. And what I took away from that project is that not everything you do is going to have 800 contributors, but everything you do has people who care about it and are invested in it. And the best thing you can do is empower those people to be as much a part of it as they want to be. I've used that same strategy to run a business. I was the director of public programs at Housing Works Bookstore Cafe, so I was putting on poetry readings and book launches and panels and concerts, 200 events a year. And anyone who has ever worked at a nonprofit can probably guess what my marketing budget was. It was nothing. So I started using all these free internet tools. I became a digital media professional in the basement of a used bookstore. We were the first bookstore to be on Tumblr, and it made an incredible difference for us. We went really quickly from this kind of local, best-kept secret, dusty little thing to something people really knew about. They knew what we were about. We would get called up by newspapers when they wanted a comment on the future of the book event. We'd be in slideshows on the best independent bookstores in the country. I'd get Google alerts from people's blogs that said things like, well, I've never been to New York City, but Housing Works is my favorite bookstore, and someday I'm going to go there. So that's the power of giving your organization a voice. And now that I work at Tumblr helping all different kinds of literary organizations to use those tools, I'm a total true believer because I've seen what it did for us. My specialty now is all those places where the internet and the book world kind of mash together. And it's amazing to me to think about how recently publishers didn't hear back from readers. And authors talk to their fans maybe once a year on book tour. And bookstores didn't have personalities you could know about if you didn't go to them all the time. I even think we're changing the definition of local. My local bookstore used to just be the one closest to my house. And now I'll take some extra subways to go to one that feels like me, where I agree with their staff picks and I laugh at their jokes. That kind of matchmaking works for publishers and authors too. So when I was a book publicist, you had to go wide. You had to get on the Today Show and the Times Book Review, put up a billboard, and hope that 1% of the people who saw it actually cared about the book you were trying to sell. Now authors can go directly to the people who are most likely to like their books. You can go on Goodreads and see who gave 5 stars to your last book or your favorite book. You can go on Tumblr and do tag searches for different writers. I met a woman recently who's writing a book about how to cook organic food from scratch for your dog. Does everybody want that book? No. But the people who want it really want it. And now you can go online and find them. We didn't have that opportunity when I started doing this. That kind of subculture marketing is enabling entirely new businesses. One that recently launched in Brooklyn is called Emily Books. It's an independent ebook store. They sell 1 title a month, something by an underrated female writer who deserves a broader audience. And they package it with interviews and essays and live book clubs. You don't subscribe because you know you're going to love every single book they put out, but because you're joining this group of people who are smart and like-minded and probably going to make your life better. Some people don't live in New York. If you're a high school student in a small town with no bookstore, now you just go online and find someone who wants to talk about the same obscure writer than you do. Earlier this year, I launched the Reblog Book Club, which is an online book club that lives on Tumblr. And the first book we discussed is called Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. It's a book about a girl who writes fan fiction. So we brought together this online literary community to talk about a book about an online literary community. And it wasn't just teenagers. It was college students and librarians and teachers. And they didn't just talk about the book, they also created their own work from reading the book. So fan fiction and fan art and playlists of music to listen to for certain characters. People did nail art to match the book cover or decorated cakes for the publication day. And then they took those things and put them back online for everyone else to enjoy, and the author responded to them too. That was unimaginable when I was a teenage fangirl. One author who's really amazing at this is John Green. He's a #1 New York Times bestseller. He's a YouTube star. He has 2 million Twitter followers. His most recent book is called The Fault in Our Stars. And when it was first announced, the pre-orders went crazy. People put up countdown blogs to count down the days until it was going to come out. They took the book cover and they photoshopped it into the creation of Adam and the Obama inauguration, so he was being sworn in on The Fault in Our Stars instead of the Bible. And then, when one retailer sent the books early by accident, people didn't read it. They duct taped the packages back together and they bike locked them, they stuffed it in the freezer, and they took pictures of that and put that online to show everyone else that the important thing wasn't reading the book the very first second you could, the important thing was reading it together. Later, John and his brother Hank put on a reading and show at Carnegie Hall. They sold out 3,000 seats, and all these people had this real-life experience together around a book. And then we partnered with this publisher to put up a free live stream. So now you could be part of this event from anywhere in the world. And we invited bookstores and libraries to register on Tumblr to have official meetup watching parties. So now you had 200 other locations all over the world where people were having face-to-face interactions, but enabled by online tools. Here in Brooklyn, we're really lucky. We've got Book Court in Carroll Gardens, we've got Community Bookstore in Park Slope and Greenlight in Fort Greene, and so many others. The bookstores that are thriving right now aren't trying to compete with Amazon on price or convenience or selection. They know they're not going to do that. They're competing on the things that they do better than anybody else. Smart booksellers who get to know you and your taste, great curation, great events, a place in the community to get together, personality, and an online presence that can show all those advantages to a wider audience. So all of that is to say that I find the idea that books and the internet are in opposition to each other kind of preposterous. In everything I've done in the last 10 years, online culture and literary culture enhance each other and enable each other. You have little bookstores finding new audiences and new loyalties. You have authors reaching out directly to the people who are going to be most excited about their books. And you have readers reaching out to each other to talk about writing and life. So now we're figuring out the next 10 years of publishing together. We're more democratized, we're more accessible, and we're connecting writers with readers more effectively than ever before. Thank you.